Jayson Tatum. Wow. Talk about having a golden opportunity to win an NBA championship this season, especially if the name is Jayson Tatum. Wow. Just wow. This is Sports Guy Talking that you guys are watching and listening to. I am Dustin Tran, your host, as I am here today to talk about the impact of Jayson Tatum's legacy if he ends up winning an NBA championship for the Celtics this season. The Celtics will be going up against the Pacers in the Eastern Conference Finals, as they are heavy favorites to win that series. With that fact being well known, it has put even more pressure on Jayson Tatum to get the job done for the Celtics sooner rather than later. Before I say anything else though, I want to present you guys with a topic question. So here it is. How confident are you in the Celtics going to the NBA Finals this season? On a scale of 1 to 10, I'm going to have to say it's at an 8. I feel pretty confident that the Boston Celtics will end up playing in the NBA Finals this year, because you guys have to remember that the Boston Celtics are 4 wins away from advancing to the NBA Finals for the second time in the last 3 years. Obviously, you look at how the Boston Celtics have done an excellent job getting to the Eastern Conference Finals on a consistent basis. And of course, that has happened because of Jayson Tatum. We all know Jayson Tatum to be one of the best players in the world. In fact, I would say that Jayson Tatum is the second best American superstar in today's NBA. Obviously, number one in my book is Anthony Edwards, and you guys know how I feel about Anthony Edwards. That dude needs to be the face of the NBA ASAP. But you want to talk about Jayson Tatum being an excellent player? Well, here you go. Jayson Tatum has had a phenomenal season for the Boston Celtics. Matter of fact, Jayson Tatum has had a phenomenal career for the Boston Celtics in general. You look at how he's been one of the best three-point shooters in all of basketball. You look at how his mid-range game is excellent. You look at his ability to facilitate the basketball as a wing player. It's really impressive. He can rebound the basketball quite efficiently as well. You look at how he can score the basketball on all 3 levels. He can score in the paint really well. He can hit his mid-range shots, and he's pretty good from 3. It also helps when he's knocking down his free throws. What I'm trying to say about Jayson Tatum is he's an excellent basketball player, and he is one of the most complete scorers in all of basketball as well. And you look at how the Boston Celtics, they're in the Eastern Conference Finals because of Jayson Tatum on a yearly basis. Without Jayson Tatum, the Boston Celtics are not even in the conversation to make the conference finals. But as far as whether or not the Celtics are going to go to the NBA Finals this year, of course that is going to happen, because all they have to do is beat the Indiana Pacers 4 times in a 7-game series. And what makes me think that the Boston Celtics are not going to beat the Indiana Pacers in this series? Because you look at how the Celtics have the better roster compared to the Pacers. And look, I'm not here to disrespect the Pacers whatsoever. I've picked against the Pacers the first 2 rounds of the NBA playoffs. Obviously, I've been proven wrong, but you got to give credit where credit is due to the Indiana Pacers for having the best offense in the National Basketball Association. And it also helps that Tyrese Halliburton has broken out into a star player in this year's playoffs. We knew Tyrese Halliburton was a good player in the National Basketball Association, but now more people are realizing that this guy is better than just a good basketball player. This guy is actually a star player for the Indiana Pacers, and they have a pretty good supporting cast in Pascal Siakam and Miles Turner. They've got guys that can score the basketball. They've got guys that can space the floor really well. They move the basketball really well. There's a reason why they can rack up a lot of assists. There's also a good reason why they can also score a lot of points. They move the basketball really efficiently. And as for the Boston Celtics, that is the biggest thing they have to worry about when playing against the Indiana Pacers. What do the Boston Celtics struggle most? Guarding the 3-ball. What do the Pacers do really well? Shooting the 3-ball. And honestly, that's one of the main reasons why I don't think this is going to be quite an easy win for the Boston Celtics compared to what it should be on paper. I'm not saying that the Boston Celtics aren't well coached, but you look at the Boston Celtics' biggest weakness versus the Pacers' biggest strength, and I'm thinking, wow, the Pacers, they've got an opportunity to steal some games in this series. I think about how the Pacers are going to get hot from 3 in one of those games. You guys also have to remember that Kristaps Porzingis will likely be coming back in this series at some point. And even though Kristaps Porzingis is a very good basketball player, chemistry is a real thing in basketball, and Kristaps Porzingis could definitely rack up some of the chemistry that the Boston Celtics have built in this year's NBA playoffs without Kristaps Porzingis. You look at how Kristaps Porzingis has missed most of this year's NBA playoffs due to an injury. He's supposed to be out the first 2 games of this series, so we'll see how this series plays out. And I know that the Boston Celtics have played excellent on the road, but guess who has also been really good at home this year? Indiana. So that's going to be an interesting contest to see for sure. I think at some point the Boston Celtics Celtics are going to lose on the road. There's no way they're going to keep winning all these road games. And I think the Indiana Pacers are going to make this series far more interesting than what it should be on paper. I think Tyrese Halliburton is going to put on some really good performances for the Indiana Pacers. I also think the coaching of Rick Carlisle has been really good in this year's NBA playoffs as well. Here's the funny thing with Rick Carlisle. So he was known as one of the NBA's best coaches for a long time, but after 2011, the guy could not win a playoff series to save his life. But now he has won a playoff series not once but twice in this year's NBA playoffs, and now he's gotten this Pacers team to overachieve this season due to the emergence of Tyrese Halliburton. You don't think Rick Carlisle has played a tremendous role of that? Of course, Rick Carlisle has played a big role in the emergence of the Indiana Pacers. You look at how Tyrese Halliburton has played productive basketball for the Indiana Pacers this season, and they've got other guys that are balling out as well. You've looked at how TJ McConnell has had a career year off the bench for the Indiana Pacers. I don't think a lot of casual viewers knew who TJ McConnell was prior to this season, but all TJ McConnell has done this year has brought life and energy out of the Indiana Pacers bench, and that's one of the main reasons why the Pacers have been able to overachieve. But back on topic, when talking about the Boston Celtics, you look at the Celtics roster, they've constructed themselves into being a pretty good team in general. Are they a super team? No, but their roster has been really well constructed. They've got Jayson Tatum, who's one of the best players in the world. They've got Jaylen Brown, who's one of the best two-way players in all of basketball, and then they've got Kristaps Porzingis, who has been giving them a solid presence as a big man, and they've got Al Horford, who's another big man that can grab rebounds, space the floor really well, and he's an underrated facilitator. They've got Derek White, who has emerged into one of the better players in the National Basketball Association, and they've got Drew Holiday, who's an excellent perimeter defender for the Boston Celtics. Don't forget the fact that Drew Holiday was also a former NBA champion for the Milwaukee Bucks, and no, it's not like he was some bench warmer being on the Milwaukee Bucks. Drew Holiday was actually a productive player the year the Milwaukee Bucks won the NBA championship that season. And obviously, you look at how the Boston Celtics are really well constructed from top to bottom. Their coaching has also improved greatly as well. You look at how Joe Mazzulla, he's had another good year of coaching. And obviously, last year, you could tell that Joe Mazzulla wasn't quite ready for the big stage yet. Well, this year, I think Joe Mazzulla is ready for the big stage, and I think he's going to find a way to outcoach Rick Carlisle in the sense that the Boston Celtics are going to end up victorious in the series. Now, on paper, the Celtics should win this series in 4 games, but I think this series is going to go longer than 4 games. I think this series is going to go at least 6 games, because we all know that the Indiana Pacers are perfectly capable of getting red hot from 3, and we've seen the blueprint for when the Boston Celtics lose games. Why do they lose these games in the NBA playoffs? Because opponents are out shooting them from the 3-point line, and the Indiana Pacers are really good at spacing the floor and playing offense at a really fast pace, which is something the Boston Celtics have historically struggled with, at least for this season. And you look at how the Boston Celtics, they sometimes have lapses or moments where they're just not quite locked in, and they're not making the plays that need to be made on the basketball floor. You look at how Jayson Tatum, he sometimes has an off night, which happens a little too often for a guy that is as good as he is. And obviously, the Indiana Pacers are going to steal a couple of games from the Boston Celtics. They've been excellent at home as well, and I think the Pacers, they're going to go ahead and steal a road game in this series as well, because the Boston Celtics have struggled at home in this year's NBA playoffs, which is actually kind of ironic, because when a team has home court advantage, you would think they would be good at home, but that just has not been the case with the Boston Celtics in this year's NBA playoffs. Now, how do I see game 1 playing out tonight for the Boston Celtics? Of course, they're going to win game 1 against the Indiana Pacers, and they're going to do it in blowout fashion, just like they have in all of their wins. In fact, the Boston Celtics have not really even played one close game in this year's NBA playoffs. Every game they played in, they've basically either blown out the opponent, or if they lose, they get blown out. It's kind of been a weird trend in and of itself, but that's the way the Boston Celtics play basketball. They live by the 3, they die by the 3. And when you use that philosophy, yeah, you're going to get a lot of variances in scoreboards, and that's exactly what has happened with the Boston Celtics. They've been able to win games in blowout fashion, and they've also been able to lose games in blowout fashion. They don't really play any close games whatsoever. That's actually one of the main reasons why I haven't really covered the Boston Celtics this season on my YouTube channel. It's because of the fact I feel like there's not really a whole lot that needs to be said about the Boston Celtics. You want to beat the Boston Celtics, you got to be able to outshoot them from 3, and you've got to be able to win the rebounding battle. And if you're the Boston Celtics, how do you want to win. You want to make sure that Jayson Tatum and Jaylen Brown are playing efficient basketball while the role players are making their three-point shots on a consistent basis, while making sure that opponents are missing their three-point shots. So it's really quite simple. It's not a whole lot to say about the Boston Celtics. It's more so execution more than actual game planning and strategy. At the end of the day, though, the Boston Celtics are going to go to the NBA Finals. I think it's going to go in 6 games, but I think ultimately the Celtics are going to win because their roster is just too good to lose to the Indiana Pacers. I got the Celtics winning in 6 games in the Eastern Conference Finals against the Pacers. They're going to end up going to the NBA Finals this season. We'll see what happens once they get there. Maybe they win it, maybe they don't. But either way, though, the Boston Celtics are going to return back to the NBA Finals for the second time in the last 3 seasons. That's my prediction. So that is why I am pretty confident in the Celtics going to the NBA Finals this season, as they will end up beating the Pacers in 6 games. Remember, go ahead and subscribe to Sports Guy Talking, like the video, and please comment down below. If you guys do that, I may shout you guys out in my Instagram story every Monday. That'll be for the @Dustin Tran Instagram account. Make sure to follow me on Instagram @Dustin Tran, and that's Sports Guy Talking. Also, go follow me on Twitter @Dustin Tran. Again, go ahead and do those things that I just told you guys to go do. Hopefully, you guys enjoyed the content that was just produced. Peace out. I hope you enjoyed that video. Want more Sports Guy Talking, the home of great sports content? Make sure you click that subscribe button to get the latest from Sports Guy Talking. Go ahead and like the video, comment down below, check the description box on the video in order to follow my Instagram and Twitter. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from the YouTube channel Sports Guy Talking.